Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reaction, and this is 10 things the UK does better than the US by the channel Top Lists. Yeah, this is the kind of title that alienates one people against the other, but let's hope this video is more fair than I think it's going to turn out to be. It's going to be lots of nitpicking that will piss off a lot of people, but we'll see. Obviously, I'm the best guy to, react to this and know if there's an issue or not, right? Yeah, okay, maybe I'm not the best guy, but still, I like to think my general knowledge is really vast, and I will know a thing or two about things. So we'll see if something nitpicking or really is true or not. Yeah, this was a channel Top List. It's impossible to say which country is the best in the world. However, a case can be made for some countries just being better than the other, at least in specific fields. There are 10 things the United Kingdom does better than the United States. Alright, let's watch this one.
It's impossible to say which country is the best in the world. However, a case can be made for some countries just being better than others, at least in specific fields. These are 10 things the United Kingdom just does better than the United States.
Heads of states. Wait a minute, before he even says it, I need to say it before I see it. Heads of states, so he's talking about the Queen and the President in the US. He's saying that UK spends less money on their head of state than United States. How is that possible? I've seen videos where people constantly bitch about it, especially in the UK, like how Crown is taking all this taxpayer money, investing it. How does US spend more than that?
Many Americans often mock British people for still having a queen.
Yeah.
They often say, "Get with the times. You're not free if you have a monarch. Your tax money is just being wasted." Well, the truth is that US taxpayers have to pay more for their leaders. In 2014, the British royal family cost UK taxpayers just £35.7 million, while President Obama and his family cost US taxpayers $1.4 billion in expenses that same year. So when it comes to cost-effective leadership,
$1.4 billion in a year. What the hell did he do for that? I mean, I think there's something wrong with this statistic here. There's no way in hell Obama and his family used $1.4 billion in a year. Well, I mean, what can you do for $1.4 billion? I'm pretty sure he's using anything that Obama did is under cost of what Obama used. Because I feel like Obama is more like a mix between Queen and the Prime Minister of UK, because since he have the both kind of job, he's also the lead politician of US. So maybe lots of things that he did for the country or for reasons for the country or whatever his job is, I think they're counting that as the expense as well. It has to be that, because how the hell do you spend $1.4 billion?
leadership.
And I've seen a lot of people, especially even in the UK. It's not just outside of the UK. In the UK, people are constantly bitch about, Queen is costing people money. Queen is that and this. I was seeing some of the video, and in the end, Queen pays off lots of money. Then she takes, I guess. And lots of people also makes cases like even the people like Bill Maher on HBO. People like that always makes these cases like castles are going to be there. Historical places are going to be there, but I think it was CGP Grey. I don't know who that was, but I think it was CGP Grey who made the case, and I kind of agree with that. Like, having a queen inside a castle is worth more than not having a queen inside a castle. An empty castle is not worth as much. So there are castles in Europe everywhere, but nobody gets as much as tourism, near as much as tourism as Britain does, because there's already a royal family there. Look at them. These are people are there. All the tourists from all around the world is standing there, and they see this royal family coming out, Queen waving her hand. People like, what? This money was well worth. The royal family is more like a band now who goes into a concert, and people just go there to see that. Obviously, sound quality is gonna suck compared to the real thing, but they're still seeing it live, so this is like that.
The Queen of England, ironically, is less expensive than the President of the United States.
That is surprising.
The studies are in, and the verdict is clear. Roundabouts are not only more efficient than US-style traffic intersections, they're also safer. Mythbusters even tested this theory, and they clearly demonstrated that roundabouts allow for 20% more.
Oh god, I miss this Mythbusters. Not the newer one, I don't see that, but this one. But this too. Yeah, I think when it comes to traffic and safety of traffic, I'm being an Indian. I'm in the best position to answer this. Roundabouts are lifesavers. Trust me. If you haven't come to India and live here and been on the street, you don't know. You don't know shit. Roundabouts are really, really important. I mean, I do lots of construction jobs around different states, and you would think like 200, 300 miles, that's nothing. I can do it. Some of us do that every day just for the job. Some of you might be saying that. Yeah, but you do that in UK and US, not in India. If you do that in India, let's just say some of the reaction videos you've seen, I might seem like I'm depressed or some, dopey. I'm not depressed or dopey. I just did 300 or some kilometers ride back and forth in India. That just drains you. So whenever I see a roundabout, whenever I drive, I feel like, oh, this is good. This is so good. Otherwise, there's so much stress. But as part of US thing goes, US UK is not the same. UK, just like most of the Europe and everywhere else, has really complex structures everywhere. So roads are not straightforward and massive. They curve, they turn. There are small turns here and there. So roundabouts are really important. While in US, most things are blocky. It's either square, goes in the straight line, or a wider road. So I don't know if they would benefit from the roundabouts. Obviously there's going to be outlier everywhere. There's going to be instance where roundabout could be really good, but in majority of places, I don't think roundabout can do much of good. And look at the Manhattan. It's all square and straight roads. So yeah, only thing I don't understand is double roundabouts. Even Jeremy Clarkson was bitching about that. When I think about it, that is scary. And something like, in UK roundabouts, there are so many complex roundabouts inside just one roundabout. Like there is one here, then there is small besides it, there is two roundabout beside it. That's way too complicated, man. That causes old people to crash into each other. Peugeot drivers, apparently.
More cars to pass through in any period of time than what is possible in an intersection. Another advantage is that in a roundabout, drivers don't have to bring their vehicles to a complete stop.
Yeah, that is the best thing about roundabout. But just one roundabout, I understand that look at that. You come here, there's a small round. Yeah, okay, this is, I think, roundabout. I don't know if it should be roundabout or it should be much like a U-turn or something. It could make sense if you want to make a U-turn. There's no point of going, also you can just do it here. But roundabout implies that you come here, you make a turn, and you can also do this. That's what roundabout is showing here. And I like it. There is sections here, so if somebody just want to go through here and here, they don't have to worry about here. So this is a bit complex, but it's safer. But double roundabouts, that's just confusing.
This has been shown to be safer for both drivers and
pedestrians. This is good.
So all in all, in this area, the UK has the US beat when it comes to traffic control.
I feel like the way that roundabout was created with the sections in the side, you don't have to rely much on the turn signals. If it's just one roundabout and you have to think about which exit I'm going to take, you have to rely mostly on your turn signals because you have to let people know where you're going to turn. But if there are sections there, you could basically take the outside sections and just go where the road leads you. That's good, actually.
The average intelligence of each country in the world is something that has been rigorously studied over the past few decades. Well,
Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, Italy.
The results are in, and quite embarrassingly, people in the UK are smarter than people in the United States. The average IQ of the United Kingdom stands at 100, while the United States falls short with an average IQ score of 98. This may not seem like a lot, but those two crucial points are enough to make the United States fall below the mean European IQ, which is 100. Many people argue about the cause of this, whether it be better schooling or higher standards of living, but the facts don't lie. When it comes to IQ, the UK is superior to the US.
I mean, yeah, in the US there is a issue with education system. Everybody talks about that. I mean, there is a pattern that somebody says that when you get too rich, you get too comfortable in your own thing that you don't try to learn things. And I think US has gone through that trend past a century or two, where they become so rich and powerful. Just people didn't care about going to school because I'm talking about a few decades ago, not today, a few decades ago, where you could just work at some kind of a simple shop without having a degree, and you could run your house. You can basically run your house and feed your family and everything. That was true decades ago. Nowadays that's not true, obviously, in the US. But yeah, in I think 50s or 60s, you could have a great great house with the lawn and everything, and you were just working at some small job somewhere. So yeah, education system need to be improved, I guess. Really? That is surprising.
Now that you know the differences in average IQ between the US and the United Kingdom, it probably doesn't come as a surprise when you learn that the UK actually contributes more to science than the United States.
I'm not gonna lie, this visual is pissing me off. If I were living in London, in this London area where I have to constantly go back and forth through this London Bridge, Tower Bridge, London Bridge, whatever. If I had to go through this every single time and I have to wait because a damn cruise ship came, I already hate cruise ship, that would piss me off. Like goddamn cruise ship constantly coming here.
At least on a per capita basis, which is the metric that divides the number of scientific papers published by a country's scientists and divides that number by the country's population.
Okay.
This results in a number
that makes sense. Otherwise I was surprised, like US gives less paper than UK. How's that possible? Because before World Wars, Germany was basically scientific hub in a way. Then Germany fell, US became a scientific hub. Everybody, big scientists were drawing toward the US, and US has since, with the NASA and things, with all the different types of observatories and lots of other science labs, people usually think in US as the scientific hub. But just when I saw this, like, really, UK produce more paper than US, then what's all the fuss about? But yeah, okay, per person, I guess that makes sense.
That gives you a good idea of how scientifically productive a country is on average. Well, in this category, the United Kingdom has the United States outclassed. The UK publishes 1.424 scientific papers for every 1,000 citizens, while the United States only produces 0.988 scientific papers per every 1,000 citizens. This gap in contributions in the world scientific community is a point of pride for people living in the United Kingdom, and this is certainly an area where the United States should try to catch up.
I don't know much about which field UK excel at, but I'm pretty sure that I know that UK is extremely great at architecture, I think. British architects are renowned all over the world, I'm pretty sure of that. There are massive construction, like massive bridges, which are just marvel, just great marvels to look at, and just great engineering piece. They were all architects are British, I think, but I don't know. I feel like long ago Germany was a scientific hub. UK was close to that, obviously, but Germany was scientific hub. Then World Wars happened, it gets suppressed down. People moved to US. Lots of scientists moved to US because Europe basically killed each other most of the time during the World Wars. So lots of great mind moved to US. US became the powerhouse. But yeah, UK has never been weaker in scientific research or any engineering perspective, and they are stronger even going today. This is good, man.
The United Kingdom possesses the most productive...
Yeah, I know this one, wind power. Definitely, there is not even a comparison between US and UK when it comes to wind power. I don't think there's comparison with any other country. I've seen some of the images and videos where there are massive amount of these wind farms in the sea, in the water. Even if you play Euro Truck Simulator, as soon as you enter Britain, you start to see tons of these wind farms. It's like, god damn, this is awesome. Seriously, man, right now in US, in Congress, people are constantly blocking. Obviously, it's because of lots of people are paid by this Koch brothers and Koch brothers and other people like that who benefits from ignoring the green energy. But what's the worst can happen when it's green energy? It's not doing something bad. Why not invest in it? If US invests in it, I mean, there are lots of empty places in US, especially when you start to go towards the west of the US. Lots of empty places. You could utilize that for solar panels. You could utilize that for wind farms. And US has money to do that. US is extremely rich compared to any other country. US spends more money in their military than next 15 countries combined. I mean, just take some out of that and do something like this.
Offshore wind farm in the entire world. This world-class installation is the Greater Gabbard Wind Farm, which produces over
Look at that.
1.75 terawatt hours of clean and renewable energy every
I hate it when the Texas, grid problem emerges just a week or two ago. Everybody on Fox News said this is all because of the green energy. This is all because of wind farm. Really? Entire US's wind farm, I think, is responsible for 10-15% of the power. I think in Texas is 10 or 15% of power. You're gonna blame wind power for this? First of all, Texas is not using a federal grid system. Texas is their own system. They're like, we're gonna do our own thing. And when the grid fails, people are like surprised, like, really? And every state, I think every state of the US uses the federal grid system, while Texas manages their own. Of course it fell.
year. The United States, and indeed the rest of the world, has nothing that can compete with this installation. In fact, the United States doesn't even have a position in the top 25 most productive offshore wind farms, while the United Kingdom holds the top first, second, and third spots, with Denmark being its closest competitor. The UK's superiority doesn't just end there, however. The United Kingdom is the largest exporter of offshore generated wind power, which means that not only is the UK producing the most offshore wind energy, it's also creating enough to supply other countries. Just as with wind power and scientific papers, the United Kingdom is better when it comes to producing authors and great works of literature. The UK tops the charts of publications per capita, with only China and the United States beating out the country in absolute terms, despite the UK's much smaller populations. Overall, the UK produces 2,875 titles each year for every 1 million inhabitants of the country, while the United States only produces 956 titles for every 1 million inhabitants. This is an even more impressive feat when you learn that the UK has only 1/5 the population of the United States. So when it comes to books, the US is still quite a few chapters behind the UK.
I mean, obviously these are all per capita thing, like per person, per 1,000-person, people like that. But yeah, it's still, even with that, with a small population they have compared to the other giant countries, they are really productive, man. People should watch videos like this, because lots of people have these misconceptions, like UK fell, British Empire fell. They have this misconception that British Empire fell, so they're doing nothing. They're just, drinking tea and just, watching their queen and just basically, just doing much of nothing. That's not the case, man. There might be no British Empire it used to be once, even though there are lots of countries are still under Britain. Britain are doing lots of great things, man. They are really leading in science too. They have lots of this wind power, wind energy, and lots of other plus points, man.
While it is true that Hollywood is the film capital of the world, and as a result produces more films per year, this doesn't compare to one of the UK's greatest film achievements. The most successful film franchise of all time is a British film franchise, the James Bond series. The James Bond series was the first to gross over $1 billion in sales, and is still the highest grossing film franchise. It's
one of the highest, you mean? It's not the highest. Because as you can see, there are others, Harry Potter and the Marvel. I mean, you can't beat Marvel Cinematic Universe. Star Wars is behind James Bond? What? Oh, because James Bond has so many movies. Alright, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know about this particular stats. This feels like nitpicking, like James Bond is big, I understand that. But no, I don't think you can compete with Hollywood. So I don't know about this. But yeah, James Bond is really big. Really big. I don't think any country in the world who sees the poster of James Bond doesn't think, oh, this is gonna be good. Everybody anticipates a next James Bond movie. Everybody, even in here, oh, there's new James Bond out. So yeah, that is really big. But yeah, obviously nothing can beat Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is number one. It's gonna stay number one.
$1 billion in sales, and is still the highest grossing film franchise. It seems that people still prefer the cool, suave charisma of Agent 007 to the loud action and violence of most American films.
The latest James Bond, who is that? Daniel? I'm confusing with Radcliffe. Is it Radcliffe or is that Harry Potter? I don't know. Yeah, the current James Bond. People had this concern, and even I did when I saw his first movie. Like, he wasn't that, a smooth British guy. that like how past one was. They're just smooth. There's this some personality, like I'm James Bond. That didn't feel like. But I think he grew up on people, and right now when I see him, like, yeah, that is James Bond. It feels right. I mean, he made James Bond his own thing. That's great.
If you're a fan of watching YouTube videos, this is probably the most important category where the UK is better than the US. Despite having invented the internet, the UK has the US outclassed when it comes to average internet speeds. As of 2015,
I don't think so.
The average connection speed in the UK was 13 megabits per second.
Yeah, okay. I think he's talking about in 2015 might have been. I'm pretty sure I've seen these stats. It's not today. Right now, mobile network internet average speed, US is still ahead of UK. And when it comes to broadband wired connection, US is much ahead of UK internet speed. Wait a minute, let me check it out. Alright, there we go. This is from 2017, some survey, and this is current one. This is mobile cellular. United States is at 26.7 Mbps average speed, and UK is at 22.9. That's closer, but I think massive gap will be in the wireline, like broadband. In here, US is at 170 Mbps average, while UK is 80. So that's a massive gap. Yeah, I think in 2015 might have been true, but not today. Today's US is ahead of it.
While the US only had an average of 12.6 megabits per second. So the next time you're in an argument with a British person on the internet, remember that they probably have you outclassed in internet connection speed.
I mean, that might have been true at one particular period where, I don't know, something got in the way or something. But you need to understand, in US, most of the giant companies are, this information technology companies like Google, Facebook, Twitter, even Apple. All of those rely on internet. Internet has to be big in US. Even though there are countries who outclasses US in the average speed, but those countries are extremely small compared to it. In major countries, US is really high in average speed, and they have to be, because lots of companies, they're massive companies, depends on it.
Of the 118 known elements on the periodic table, 24 were discovered by British scientists. This is more than any other country, and further reinforces the case of British superiority in the sciences over the United States.
What I love about this is, they have these noble elements. The British, most of them were found by British, and they are called noble elements. And they're not just named because British found them. Lots of them don't even interact with, don't even combine that much with others. So they are noble in that sense. They're different from everybody else, something like that. So that was really funny. Like these were discovered by British scientists, and they're called noble elements because they don't interact with others as much.
This number includes crucial elements such as hydrogen, sodium, xenon, and platinum. The US, however, wasn't totally
Obviously, I'm not talking about all noble. Some of them are noble and don't interact with. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, hydrogen interacts a lot.
Classed by the UK, as the country did discover 21 elements on the periodic table, and as a result, earns a very respectable second place. This is probably the greatest sign of the UK's importance and massive impact on the shape and history of the globe. As a legacy of the once great British Empire, countless flags around the globe still bear the Union Jack. From Australia to New Zealand and even Fiji, over 20 major flags around the world contain the Union Jack in one form or another. Perhaps the most interesting and most humorous is that the number includes the U.S. state of Hawaii, which prominently and proudly displays the Union Jack. The very first flag of the young United States, the Grand Union flag, even contained the Union Jack as well. While countries such as Liberia and Malaysia have similar flags to the U.S. flag, these are poor facsimiles at best, and are vastly outnumbered by countries, states, and territories that still fly the Union Jack with pride. For more top lists just like this,
Union Jack is comprised of all the main countries of the Great Britain, I guess, of the UK. There was a thing like Scotland's want to leave the UK, They want to be independent. So that was a real big issue. Like, what are we going to change our flags? We're gonna, break off the Union Jack and create something else, because we have to take out the Scottish part of the flag. John and we were making fun of, like, I have to change all my bed sheet and everything. That was funny. But then again, UK is really great at doing those things. Apparently, they could change their money like that. They could, if Queen dies and King comes, they could change the money like that. They could change a lot of things. They could change the songs. They're really great at that, apparently. Yeah, this was 10 things the UK does better than the US. Alright, people, if you like my Rick Sunday, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out the Rick Sunday. There's a link in the description. Check out the Cosmo playlist. And yeah, I'll see you next time.